Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 178, and good morning. So today, and like it seems like the first time in eons, I stepped on a scale, and I weighed in at 154.4. My stage weight, or where I want to be for the show is between 145, 150. 150 just to give myself a little bit more wiggle room because I think for me anything under 140 is a little bit too small. Smallest I've ever been on stage was my first show, and that was 130 33 pounds or something like that. But I was doing way too much cardio and I was burning way too much muscle, and I can literally see that from the pics. It's like I look good, but like you could see that I wasn't as full as I needed to be. And what's interesting about me is that every single prep that I do, um, my body changes, man. It's like the refeed changes, the consistency changes. I recently just linked back up with my boy who just moved back into town. And we've been we had one training session together, but it was good, man. It was definitely something that I needed. And because I don't train with other people, I train by myself. You know, most of the time, majority of the time, I'm by myself. And there's a reason for that, man. Because I just kind of zone in, and I do the work and I leave. And I'm in the gym maybe hour and a half, 2 hours tops, and then I go home. Like pretty much, I get there, I get to the gym at a certain time, and I leave 2 hours later, like clockwork. And that's with posing included. So that tells you that how efficient I am with my time, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I think training partners are important. They help push you. They provide you a spot. They do X, Y, and Z. But also too, what's really difficult about some training partners is that they're not consistent. Because I've seen guys come into the gym. They train 1 week. They train 2, 3 days a week. Next week they train in 5. Next week after that they train in 3 days a week. So there's no consistency. You know what I mean? So. And for me, I'm always going to train 5, 6 days a week, Competing or not competing, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna I'm gonna have my days where I'm gonna go in and hit certain body parts. I'm gonna hit certain numbers, and I'm just gonna keep going, for as long as I can. And I think that's important, man. Because for me, bodybuilding. And I don't mean the competitive side. I just mean in general. Bodybuilding has saved my life in so many different ways. But I don't know if y'all seen Game 1. I think Dallas is gonna fuck around and win this series. Cause I don't see Boston putting up those type of numbers in 4 games. I just don't see it. The only thing that's going to be difficult is trying to game plan for Porzingis. I mean, this guy, he's 7'3", 7'4", can shoot from anywhere on the court, pick and roll, pop shots, and it's like anything, man. So it's like, that's going to be a difficult thing. I think Lively has to play better. He has to play smarter because he's dealing with a veteran. And I think Lively has to get into the weight room this offseason and put on some serious weight. Because the way that Porzingis is just bullying him around, and Porzingis is not the biggest guy. I'm not saying he's weak by any means, but I'm just saying, it's like, Lively's about 7 feet. Like, bro, you should be going toe-to-toe with this dude. Like, he should not be pushing you around like you a rag doll. Especially since he's coming off an injury and he hasn't played. I think he played on Thursday. That was his first game that he played in like a month, like 35 days or 36 days. He's coming off injury, right? So it's like even more so. Like you're better conditioned than that guy. You know, so they definitely got to come up with a strength and conditioning plan for the summer and get that kid in the gym, lock him in the gym. And but anyway, man, this episode 178, what we're gonna talk about, man, is basically your mental health, man. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness, and nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about the struggles we go through. Nobody empathizes or sympathizes with us to the extent that we need. And a lot of times when we do open up with people, the shit that we say in confidence gets used against us in an argument, right? I ain't the only guy who's had that shit happen to him. You know, I'm not the only guy who's dealt with that. We've all dealt with that. And I think that's extremely, extremely sad that people do that. When I say people, I mean women, most likely. I mean, I'm not, I don't know how same-sex couples do it, but I just know from my experience, most of the time when I'm dealing with a woman and I tell them something in confidence, they try to use it against me later on down the road. And when that happens, I completely shut them out. And most men will do that because you're like, yo, I told you that in confidence. Why are you telling me? Why are you trying to use that against me in a future argument that has nothing to do with this, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's very manipulative. And I think at the end of the day, men, we matter, man. I mean, not that I think, I know that we matter. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I know it's something like 525,000 a year of the male population who commit suicide. I don't know what the numbers are and how they do it. I just know that's the number for the year. And a lot of it, man, is not being able to reach out and not being able to have that support system or being told to, quote unquote, man up. I've always fucking hated that. I've hated that saying because it's such bullshit. It's bullshit because you're telling us to man up, and like, I don't care if you're African American, white, Chinese, Japanese, whatever, pink, purple, blue, fucking turquoise, it doesn't matter. We all go through shit, right? And a lot of the times it's like people come to us to help, to have them, have us men fix their problems, and which is cool. I get it. I understand it because men were naturally, by our DNA makeup, we are fixers. We're gonna fix shit, We're gonna try to come up with solutions, We're gonna reassure you that, hey, yo, like, even though you going through some shit, it's cool. I got you. I ain't going nowhere, right? But on the flip side, bro, a lot of us don't have that safe space where we can go to, whether it's our girlfriends, our wives, And a lot of the times, too, us men will just sit there in silence. And I don't know about y'all, but I know my circle goes through it. I know there's some shit we don't talk about because it's just too deep. I know there's things that happen in our lives that, we only let a certain amount of people know about it because we know for a fact that, that none of that shit's gonna get said outside the circle. I know shit about my partners that I'm never ever going to tell them anybody else because number one, they told me that in confidence, and number two, ain't my business to spread their business. So I'm gonna say it again. It ain't my business to spread their business. And I think that's extremely important, man, because trust and loyalty is gained through trials and tribulations, but it only takes a snap of the fingers to lose that shit. It's like the old saying, man, like, never make your homeboy a joke in front of a girl to get her to laugh. That means you're gonna be doing shit off rip when he or she's not around, right? And what's wild to me, man, is like people will ignore red flags in every situation. And then they want to sit there and be like, well, I don't know what happened, this and this and that. I'm like, no, like, you knew what happened. You knew what was going on. You just didn't think that they were going to do that shit to you. And when they did that shit to you, you didn't know how to respond to it. And it's true, man. It's like I think I was having a conversation with a really good friend of mine, man. We go back decades. I've known this guy since we was in middle school, right? And we was talking about love and relationships and all the shit that we go through, and he was telling me like, yo, he's like, what I don't understand, man. It's like these women think that we're gonna leave them, and when in reality, like they don't understand that they're the best thing that happened to us. Yeah. Majority of the time, the girl that you lay down with, the girl that you actually want to stop all the bullshit for, that's the one that you want to be with forever. You know, it's not the floozies on it's it's not the floozies on Snapchat. It's not the girls with the OnlyFans. It's not the girls who are in your DMs trying to get your attention because you know somebody who's wholesome got that. And I don't mean wholesome just by basically like they they're not out there doing the most, right? Um, and it's like for me, it's like I get all that. I understand all that because it's like you don't want somebody out there who's doing all that shit. You don't want somebody out there who's just basking for attention in different arenas because it's like number one, like why are you doing that? And number two, why do you feel the need to seek external validation, right? Because if a guy is with you, you know, he's with you for three reasons. One, because he loves you. Two, because he thinks you're beautiful. And three, because you make him want to be better. You know? Not in particularly in that order, but you ask any guy out there, be like, yo, like why you with Shorty? And he gonna say one of the three. Majority of the times it's gonna be the third one. You know, she makes me want to be better. You know? Because it comes to a certain point in time when you realize, like, man, all of that shit that you be doing, all that shit, whether I don't care what it is. When you meet somebody who makes you want to be better, it's not gonna be like a light bulb moment. It's gonna be over time where you like realize like, yo, I don't have to keep moving like this. I don't have to keep doing X, Y, and Z because at the end of the day, I got somebody who's got me. And I think that's what a lot of men lack, man. It's like we lack the fact that we don't have anybody in our lives, who have us, unconditionally. Except, maybe our mothers, our grandmothers, if we're lucky, we still have them, right? And those, to me, those are the only two women in your life that gonna love you. And if you have a great grandmother, three women in your life that's gonna love you for who you are, because it's unconditional. And I think a lot of people, they need to understand that your mental health is important, man. I don't care how much weight you lift. I don't care how much, how much you can bench press. I don't care how much you can fucking squat, leg press, whatever. I don't care what your mile is. I don't give a fuck about any of that. If this up here ain't right, bro, none of this shit matters. Like, none of it matters. It's like, you have to be willing to understand that, okay, yes, it's okay to check in with yourself and ask yourself how you doing. I've been doing this since maybe probably about 2016, 2017. And I took the idea from when, actually, was it longer than that? No, my bad. It was 2019, 2020. I don't remember when it was. I just remember when Chad Ochocinco was still I Am Athlete, when I Am Athlete was still around. I'm talking about the original I Am Athlete with Shannon Crowder, Freddie T, B Marshall, and Chad Ochocinco, right? He used to always start the episodes with a mental health check-in, and he's like, yo, on a scale of 1 to 10, how you doing? How you feeling? How you living? And every single Sunday, without fail, most of the time, I will send out that same text message to 5 or 10 people that I can, that I want to check in on, and I'll ask them like, yo, the same thing. and they'll say whatever scale through 1 through 10 or through whatever it is, and if it's anything lower than a 7, we're gonna talk about it. You know, because to me it's like a lot of black men in general, and again, yes, black men, we have a difficult time expressing ourselves. We have a difficult time doing all that because society has taught us, and not just black men, but just men in general, that men don't show emotion. We just burrow through shit. We just like we'll handle it. We'll handle it how we handle it, and it's like we end up dead at 45. Or it's like we end up in a situation where, like, instead of us having healthy communication, we don't know how to communicate properly, so we end up losing our shit. Like the smallest things will set us off, and it takes years and years of self-direction and self-retraining to realize that how most of us grew up was all bullshit. It took me to my early 20s. I take that back. It took me to my mid to late 20s to realize how I grew up was bullshit. But I had to literally leave my state to understand, okay, like how you grew up and how you saw people communicating was completely and 100% fucking wrong. It was false. And I didn't know what a healthy relationship looked like until I was out there in a different state, making my own mistakes and learning and just trying to get better and understanding that, people will change for who they want to change for, but ultimately they will change for themselves. And I think that's important, man. And even though I wasn't gone for that long, I came back a different person. Because I realized, like, yo, okay, I can't come back the same way that I left. I can't come back the same way an angry young black male who has an identity crisis, who doesn't know how to basically fit in, because I'm African American, Spanish, and Japanese, bro. How many brothers you know that have that ethnic makeup? Not many, right? And on top of that, it's like I got a physical disability. And on top of that, I'm a competitive bodybuilder, right? So boom, there you go. So there's a lot of shit, what I'm saying, coupled up in this 5'7" frame that I gotta unpack, right? And I think that's important, man, because it's like to understand that you have to understand yourself first. And what I saw growing up was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, not too much actual healthy communication. I didn't really understand that. I didn't really understand how, two people that can communicate. And only time there was actual communication is like, I wasn't the best student, but I wasn't the worst student. And the only time my parents would communicate was when me and my brother would bring home my report cards. And that's a funny thing too. My brother would always snitch on me too. He would give me 2 or 3 days of reprieve, but like, dog, I'm sorry, I gotta tell him. I was like, yeah, I bet I got it. Yeah, I didn't realize, the mental trauma behind that, or how I was conditioning myself to react towards, a girlfriend, or how to react towards a contentious situation. I didn't know how to do all that because I wasn't taught that. The lessons I took from these two individuals were the opposite of that. Come to think about it, I never ever saw my parents ever have a civil conversation. Never. And that really fucked me up because it's like, and as I got older, I didn't, I kind of dogged some girls out, and I definitely treated some women really really fucking bad. Um, I was the type of dude that I was so nonchalant with it that they didn't know how to deal with me. And when I say they, I mean the girls. Cause I was friendly, but at the same time, if you got too close to me, I started playing it off, you know, or I would get you jealous because I would stop talking to you and start talking to somebody else. And I remember once my dad told me like, "Yo, like, never fall in love with her, fall in love with it." I didn't understand what he meant at the time, But as I got older, I realized like, yo, he wasn't talking about love. He was just talking about hitting and quitting it, smashing and dashing. And while it sounds great and everything, like that just creates a trauma response to you not being able to be emotionally available to what you have going on. And if you can't be emotionally available to yourself, the fuck make you be emotionally available to somebody else, right? And the thing about it too, if you can't see yourself in the girl that you're sleeping with, the girl that you're dating, then you're never ever gonna have that soft energy. You're never gonna have that ability to be like, okay, I understand we going through something, but baby, how do we fix this? And I've had women tell me like, hey, well, there's nothing to fix. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool. You leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. Because for me, like the healed version of me is like, I'm not gonna sit there and waste my time with you. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, well, you say this or you say that. Like, no. It's like, if you don't want to work on it, that's cool. There's nothing to work on because there's nothing here to work on. Let's just go our separate ways, whatever it is, and it's like, and if you're butthurt about something, you should have said something, in that time frame. I've had girls, that I got involved with, get upset because it's like I wasn't emotionally available, but the whole entire time they was with me, they wasn't complaining about that. I've had girls tell me like, oh yeah, what, it's so much pressure, this and that, dealing with you. And like, no, it's not pressure. It's the fact that you don't want to be emotionally available with me. So it's like, that's what it is. And I remember once somebody said, somebody that I know said, yeah, well, that sounds like a challenge, this and this and that. I'm like, that's what life is. You're supposed to get better through challenges. You're not supposed to stay the same. You're not supposed to be the same version of you every fucking year. The chapters in your life aren't supposed to be the same. You're not supposed to go through the same fucking lessons all the time. It's okay to have a review here and there once in a while, but if you're going through the same shit, then you're not learning. And it's simple, you're not. One of my good friends, one of my partners, he told me something once. He's like, man, you got to check this out, bro. I was like, what's up? He's like, bro, if you're always being left, my man, the problem ain't you, dog. It's, the problem isn't them, it's you. I'm going to say it again. He's like, if you're always being left, the problem isn't them, it's you. It's your inability to realize that you need to change and get better. So take that for what it is, man, and understand that it's like you to wrap everything up, to circle back to my original point with the mental health, checking with yourself, checking with your people, but overall, love yourself. Life is difficult, life is challenging, but you know what? Life is also beautiful. And I pray for whoever's going through whatever y'all going through, that y'all get through it, that y'all have a good support system, that you guys have friends and family who believe in you. And I swear to God, bro, we all want to hear your problems versus hearing your eulogy. Suicide's not the answer, man. Peace and love, y'all. Hope y'all keeping it 4 piece. Private player pushing. I'll see y'all next week. I love y'all. Peace. And like I always say, man, know your worth because you're better than what you are. Out.